ranked number 10 on ESPN's Top 100. A McDonald's All-American from Valor Christian High School committed to Oregon State. The exclusive interview with Raegan Beavers. And it all starts right now. Listen Up, presented by Dempsey's in Sportsland, alongside not Ryan Brenner this time. It is the star player out of Colorado. We cannot wait. Ryan is sitting, he's actually in the same room as me now. I'll go ahead and admit it. We cannot wait. We couldn't wait for this. Raegan Beavers, we appreciate you coming on this podcast. Listen Up, Maryland. We can't thank you enough. You're almost 27 hours away, about over 1,600 miles. Again, thank you so much. It means the world to us for you to join us on this women's sports basketball podcast. You're number 10 on ESPN's 2022 recruit rankings and soon to be an Oregon State Beaver. Man, how does that sound?
It sounds amazing. First off, thanks so much for having me, Mr. Ryan. It really is a pleasure. But I'm so excited to head off in June and become a Beaver, work my butt off to hopefully earn my spot on the team and do my best to gain all the wisdom I can from Coach Raegan and the players there. Sure
thing, man. It has, and no disrespect to the other millions of high school women's basketball players, but I tell you, it always brings a significant importance on this podcast, and we can't thank you enough as you're one of the top 100 recruits in the nation. So I want to touch on a little bit. We'll keep you for about a half an hour on this podcast, and then we'll let you head out. You're currently a student at Valor Christian High School in Colorado. I want to start off just a little bit about where it all started, growing up and your love for basketball, or was it another sport that you had committed to before you found your love for basketball?
Mm-hmm. My love for basketball started at a super young age because both my parents played. So my dad started coaching me up, and when we realized that I was going to be taller than the normal size girl, he started working on my post moves. And so it started at a young age. I played a few other sports here and there when I was super young, but I fell in love with basketball immediately, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And as I grew older, got older, I realized that it was going to be a big role in my life. And once I got to high school, I realized that I was going to play it in high school, play it in college, and maybe after that. So I've always loved basketball, never stopped playing it ever since second grade, couldn't stop. So it's been there ever since.
All right, that sounds good. And then, so fast forward to high school then. How about any star moment? Because obviously you was a star at your high school. Any certain moments in middle school that obviously that I didn't see that you want to talk about, that little moments here and there in the spotlight in middle school during your basketball career that made you think, like this could be pretty serious. High school could be pretty fun for me.
There were a few, but one that really stuck out, I was playing for Irvin Johnson over at EJ Hoops, a club here in Colorado. It's no longer a thing because he retired, but I was playing for him on one of his teams. And I believe it was the summer I was going into 8th grade. Summer I was going into my freshman year of high school. And my recruit had kind of started. It wasn't too big, few schools here and there, but we went to a tournament in California. And there were spots reserved for all of the college coaches. And I'm like, oh, there's no way. We're only gonna be freshmen in high school. There's no way anybody's gonna come and watch us. We start playing, and all of a sudden I look over, I come out after the first couple minutes. So my sub comes in, I come out and I look over, and there are about 15, 20 college coaches over there sitting there. And this is at the time when me and Lauren Betts from the same team. So at first I was like, oh, it's just for Lauren. It's all her. Probably she was super tall, and I'm like, she's going to be good. So I'm like, oh, it's all for her. But then after the game, my coach was like, almost all those coaches were there for you and Lauren. I'm like, wait, what? So after that point on, that was one of our very first tournaments of that club basketball season. From that moment on, I realized that basketball was going to be a huge role, and that college recruiting was going to start pretty soon, and eventually it did. But that moment really that game, I can't remember the team that we were playing because I was kind of so focused on all those coaches sitting across from me. Right. Yeah. That moment really changed my life, honestly, because I started working harder because I knew I wanted to play basketball in college. I knew that it was going to happen soon now that I had seen all those coaches and they wanted me to go to their schools. It just pushed me harder seeing all of them there. So that kind of set off my dream of being a college athlete.
We bring up the name Lauren Betts, and I have to go ahead and shout out to her now. And I know that's one of your best friends, even though that you all squared off a lot of times together already in your middle and high school career.
Mhm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you played all 4 years against her in high school.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, all 4 years,
All
except
4 years.
unfortunately last year when I didn't play because of my ACL injury. But
Okay.
freshman, sophomore, and senior year, I played all three against
And
her.
you're kind of similar as far as your height. You stand at what I have here, correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm looking at 6'2", and then she stands at 6'7". She is obviously the number one recruit on the list. Lauren Betts committed to Stanford, 98 grade overall. And I tell you, man, a lot of stars. You're all already decorated and have not even reached the NCAA level yet. And I love it, man. I love it. That's why I love to talk to you all about this. So tell me, as far as Lauren Betts, how did she make you better in the game of basketball, on and off the court, a better teammate? And as far as improving your game, because I know obviously a lot of athletes I talk to, they always want to focus on the team. It's not just about me, it's the team. So, But again, she was on the opposite side of the ball. And a lot of times I'm asking athletes, okay, how did she make you better? Meaning she, your own teammate. But this time, Lauren Betts she was on the other side of the ball, not your teammate. How different was that as far as improving your game when she was actually not your teammate?
For sure. It was definitely an adjustment going from 7th and 8th grade, playing with her year round, having a blast, working that high low nonstop, to get into high school and having to go against her, sometimes in preseason, sometimes in season, just depending on where brackets laid out. It was definitely a change. And all around, she made me a 100% better basketball player. Our games have both improved so much, but I realized, especially freshman year, that first game that we played each other in the Elite Eight. So there were only 8 teams left here in Colorado, and we were set against each other. That first game, I realized I didn't play. I played okay. I played well. But that game, I realized that I'm going to have to work around guarding and defending and scoring against girls that are that tall. Because after that, I realized Lauren's going to the Pac-12. She might go to the Pac-12. I might go to Pac-12. Wherever she goes, I might play her in college. And she's not the only one that's her height. There's some all over the country that are either just as tall or maybe a little shorter that I will be playing against. So I can't thank her enough for making me work on all that stuff. But because of her and her height, I had to learn how to score kind of away from the basket, because I would always play people that were tall, shorter than me. So I would kind of just body people in the paint and be able to score. But when it came to her, you got to work around her. She's 6'7". I mean, she's tall. Her wingspan is huge. She can block just about anything. So that's really hard to score against, obviously. So I had to work on moves, whether it was like a hook or a reverse layup. I had to work on moves to adjust my game in order to score against her. And then I had to work on my outside shot, which has improved a lot. Still needs lots of improvement, but has improved since freshman year because I had to play against Lauren. So I kind of give her credit to that. I had to learn how to shoot outside because I knew that I might not score every single basket against her down low. So I got to be able to do something else instead of just posting up. So she helped me grow my outside game, my shooting range, which has improved. My dribbling skills, because sometimes she would be at the elbow. Maybe I had to attack her from the high-low. So I had to improve my dribbling skills with her. So all around, she has just improved almost every part of my game just because I've had to play against her for so many years. And I'm so grateful for that. It's been really fun getting to play against her just because we know each other. And we both have changed as athletes, grown as athletes. Yeah. It's been so fun just being forced to play against her because, as you said, she's one of the top recruits. She is the top recruit in the country, number one. And she's going to Stanford. She's going to Pac-12. I'll play her twice a year at least, twice a season at least. And it's just going to be great playing against her. It'll be fun. But what the player she has turned me into is going to help me so much more, not just play against her, but to play against other people at Stanford, Fran Beliebe, Ashton Prechtel, Brink, all those people, not just at Stanford, but across the Pac-12, all the height that they have. It's just going to help me. Playing her has helped me improve my game so that I can be prepared for the next level at college at the Pac-12.
I love it, man. That's a great answer. And I know, Ryan, just to break it to you now, hopefully this is not, I'm sure you've heard this from a lot of other people. We're getting the plane tickets and we're going to see the Beavers and the big rival, the Stanford and the Oregon State rival game once they arrive at their respective schools. So I can tell you now, Ryan's sitting here smiling. He knows all too well by the time 2 or 3 years go by, I'm going to be calling him up saying, hey, we have to go see the Bets and Beavers rivalry. Let's go. So, hey, we definitely want to go and watch you play in person. You and her during your all's careers at your school. So we're saving up now for them plane tickets. I can tell you that. But yeah, I mean, just talk a little bit because I think it was like 9 News. I don't know your all's channel up there in Colorado. Excuse me. They had compared you to like the likes of Larry and Magic, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi. And I saw that interview when you all were sitting on the basketball court together. Just how does that feel again, you're not even at the college level yet, but for them to praise you two and that rivalry between Bets and Beers already, and they haven't even seen you on the college floor yet. I mean, that's big. That's big.
It is huge. And to be compared to some of the best basketball players in history, it's amazing to not only be compared to them, but to have a friend to kind of go through that with. We just had a great time kind of reliving our old EJ days back when we were teammates because it's been so long. But yeah, it was 9 News that came to interview us, and it was just a blast. We had some fun because we don't get to hang out a lot outside of school, just because our schedules are just crazy. But we were at the McDonald American game together and the Jordan game together. So that was really fun because we also got to be on the same team for both of those, and we got to hang out a lot. But it's been so fun, not only to play against her and be her friend, but to go against one of the best. It's been a blast and improve my game and be compared to some of the best people in basketball history.
Some of the greats. Yeah. And you have to remind me again, because before we move on from the Bets and Beers talk, the big rivalry coming in the ages to come. I wanted to ask you very quickly. So you have to remind me, because I don't know, once you reach a certain status when you're an athlete, is it can you all like have certain practice times together as far as your relationship with Bets? Like, you go over her house for family dinners? Do you go over and shoot outside basketball in the backyard? Or is it more or less you're seeing her, you're just in the games during school and that's it?
It's a lot, especially in season. We don't see each other at all. No, just because seasons, we have lots of practices, lots of film, lots of everything. We don't see each other a lot just because we got school and then on top of that basketball. And then we're so focused because we both want to win. We're both solid competitors. We want to win and we want to stay focused in that capacity. Over the summer, we see each other frequently. Our lower sisters play on the same club circuit on a similar team. So we see each other all the time in that capacity. We didn't see each other a lot over the summers when we were playing club just because she was on Premier and I was on Hardwood. So I was in Adidas and she was on Nike. And, obviously in July, there's no time for any – that's club basketball season. So there's no time for that. We would see each other here and there outside of school over the summer, not only through our sisters, but just to hang out and stuff like that. So it was good times. We'd go and watch our siblings and we have some pictures from us sitting on the bench, watching our siblings play and just having a good time over there. So we hang out from time to time outside of basketball, but in season, not a lot because we are determined to win.
That's right, determined to win. Hey, so I have to, moving on from Bets, then I have to shout out to your high school coach, Jessica Caldwell. She's the one that made this happen. I can't appreciate her enough for reaching out to us and bringing you on again today. And again, this interview is to air sometime next week, guys. So you all that tune into this podcast, again, stay tuned for this one as we're going to make it as interesting as we can for you. A big surprise, an intro video. I got my whole crew together. I said we need to make this a big one. So we can't wait for this one to be released. But again, talk a little bit about Valor Christian head coach Jessica Caldwell, what she's meant to you the last 4 years, and just how she's made you better. Because I saw where in the Denver Post, I believe it was, an article when you scored 28 in the Final Four in that 5A state. It wasn't a state title game. It was a semifinal.
Semifinal, correct.
Semifinal, yep. Okay. I mean, she had some high praise for you in her interview. She was talking about how you're always so willing to, put the team on your back. You do so well at passing the ball, finding the open man in that double and triple coverage. And we're going to get into that in just a second. But you've experienced so much of that double and triple because of how talented you are. But she had some high praise for you. How high is your praise for Jessica Caldwell?
Oh, man, it can't be high enough. She has grown me into the woman, the player, the person I am today 100%. She has made me a better, just everything all around. Basketball wise, freshman year I came in and I was just a deer in headlights. I didn't know what to expect. High school, I knew a lot of the girls who were a year above me just because we played a lot together with club. So I knew some of the girls, but I didn't know what to expect from Coach Jess. I knew she was a great coach and that's about it. So I was a deer in headlights. I was just trying to focus, learn the plays, going in the right spot. And every time I would, I don't know, mess up or something like that, she'd be like, Raegan, it's okay. It happens. It's part of basketball. And I was just so concerned because I started as a freshman and there was a lot of, not necessarily a lot of weight on my, there was a lot of weight on my shoulders to do a lot as a freshman because that's what was expected of me, which is fine. That made me a better player. But as a freshman, that's a little stressful sometimes. So she just understood that there was a lot expected of me, and she understood how to handle me when I was super nervous or I was super upset that we had just lost. And I thought it was my fault. And she just knew how to handle me in that capacity, and I cannot thank her enough because freshman year I was just trying to get through, do my best, and not disappoint anybody. And as the years came along, she came alongside me last year when I tore my ACL, and I became team manager. She said, the more involved you can be on the sideline, the more you're gonna want to be there. So when I was out all season, I was trying to be the biggest cheerleader I could be, and that's all kudos to her because she told me the more you cheer, the more you're gonna want to be there. So she has grown my game not only from the inside but also out. I cannot count the times that she has helped me when I'm shooting on the gun or when I'm working on my dribbling. She's always there giving me workouts, or she's always there correcting my form a little bit. Yeah. Lord knows that she has helped me correct my free throw so many times in my high school career. That has always been a struggle. So she has adjusted that. She has worked on that with me. All the practices that she has stayed late just to maybe explain something to me that I was confused about, or all the film that we watched together, explaining what I did wrong here. Maybe I can do this next time. She has made me such a better basketball player, and I cannot thank her enough. She is a great basketball coach, and she does it all because she has 3 kids. So she's a mom. So wow. She does it all because she has 3 kids of her own. And then, of course, a whole program here at Valor that she has to run and uphold. And then senior year came along, my last senior season, and we just focused on having fun. Of course, we wanted to win. We both had that in mind. We were after state. But there was a sense of this was my last high school season and we wanted to have fun and enjoy it, enjoy these last moments that we had. I wanted to soak in all the wisdom that she poured on me every practice of every day, and all the leadership qualities that she has been working on for all these years of high school. She has all that wisdom of leadership she has given to me, and I'm so grateful because that was a struggle this year too, was my leadership role on the team. Now that all those seniors were gone, I had to really step into that role, and she helped me with that so much. She has done so much for me in my lifetime, not just as a basketball player, but as a person, helped me grow in my faith, just every part of it. She has just grown me, and I'm so grateful for her and her coaching ability and who she is as a person. She's just amazing.
She's great. Yeah, it sounds good, Raegan. It sounds good. I tell you, hard worker. It sounds like you and her alike, huh? But yeah. So as far as, again, when she was interviewed by the Denver Post, I guess it was after that semifinal game, she had talked about your ability to actually sometimes even bring the ball down the floor against hard presses. When teams press up against you. Mm-hmm. I tell you, I thought that was pretty amazing because Ryan and I talk a lot about UConn basketball on this podcast. I know, don't beat me up for that one, but we're big Oregon State fans too. Believe me, especially you coming on. We promise that we're going to do our best to try to make it to at least one of them games. With that said, Raegan, usually we're seeing even UConn players or any other players in any team, high school, college. They're usually finding the next lady that's open down the court to throw the ball against the press. Mm-hmm. What makes you have that confidence and the ability to just say, hey, I'm going right through them and I'm looking for the basket, driving it all the way up the floor?
Yeah. Well, all of the work that Coach Tess and I put in both together, just working on my ball handling skills. And also when I was at EJ Hoops for a little while, Irvin Johnson forced me to dribble because there was a time I got a rebound. My very first game with him, I got a rebound. And I was so used to just getting a rebound, turning and looking for my outlet and not moving. And I got the rebound. I turned, no one was there. And he's like, dribble. And he just yelled at me. And I cannot thank him enough because he's the one that forced me to dribble, forced me to work on my dribbling skills. And then Coach Tess is the one who just improved them as I had come along. But there were times we had Kendall Wetta the past 3 years on my team. She's a really good point guard at CU Boulder now. But because I'll be playing with her in the playing against her in the Pac-12 too.
Yeah.
But sometimes everyone knew she was our primary ball handler, so she got so much pressure. Some of our other guards were really good bringing up the ball, so they got pressured. And my freshman, not necessarily my freshman year, but sophomore year came around, and they were getting so much pressure, and I wanted to help, but I would get the ball, and they just weren't open, so I would take it up, and then I realized, oh, I can do this. So. And especially as post players, sometimes we're just told to go to the back of the press break or press and just stand on the opposite block and just go stand there and let the guards handle it. Not Coach Jess. She wants me right there, front center of the press break, ready to dribble up the ball, dribble up the floor. So it was great that she made me do that, and I'm so much of a better player for that. But yeah, it's sometimes weird because other teams are like, wait, what do we do? Because you don't see every day. It's not every day you see a post player dribbling up the floor.
No.
But my first instinct is always to pass, just to get the next open pass. Because obviously breaking a press is faster with the pass. So, but if I have to dribble, then so be it. And I think I've that confidence that I built because of that has helped me do some other things, like building up the confidence enough to take some threes in the game and be more versatile in that capacity.
Right. Good. So again, we're talking to Raegan Beavers. She's a commit, Oregon State. We can't wait to see it. I tell you, we can't wait to see it. And again, all the prospects, as you mentioned, in the Pac-12 that you'll be playing against. It's going to get very interesting, very exciting. Ryan and I cannot wait to cover. We actually even cover some of the games on here. We can't wait to cover Oregon State basketball. Talk a little bit about fast forward now. We only have about 15 minutes left. I'll try to fit everything in that I can. You're committed to Oregon State, moving on to your college career, even though it hasn't started yet. Head coach Scott Rueck for the Beavers has been in the spotlight since 2010, I saw. Tell me, I'm just interested as far as athletes' perspective. I mean, it might not. Some athletes may pay a lot of attention to it. Others may not. Tell me if it had any significance or again, where you committed as far as a college decision with the amount of time that he has coaching. I mean, because I saw he has like a 724 winning percentage. They've had a pretty strong history since like 2014. They've made the NCAA tournament almost every year. Just tell me if that played a big role in where you committed.
So, of course, it played a really big role. At the top of my list was the culture. That was at the top of my list throughout all the schools that were recruiting me was the culture. What's it like? And, of course, excuse me, that culture is created because of the coaches and because of the players that he recruits. And that always starts with Coach Rueck and all the head coaches. So, obviously, I looked into him a lot. And back when I was being recruited before for Oregon State, Brian Holsinger was the assistant. And so I talked a lot with him, and he told me so much about Coach Rueck and his coaching and his background, everything about that. And that had a very, very large very large inspiration as I was choosing my schools, was that head coach and that culture of that school. And because of Coach Rueck and all of his past accomplishments, as you mentioned, from 2014, there hasn't been a time, maybe a few times here and there, that he hasn't made it to the tournament. And that was amazing to me that he can be that consistent, the consistency of that. So that was a big thing when I was looking at those coaches, that culture that has started and is there because of those head coaches. So that for 100% played a very big role into my college decision before I decided where to go.
Okay. And then, because I saw that the Beavers came pretty close to the national title in 2016 when they made the Final Four, but then they lost to Connecticut. And then I saw that. So, again, for a school that's never actually won the championship, what do you think your biggest strength that you would bring to this team? You know, a team that has never won the NCAA title in program history. You know, does that carry like a chip on your shoulder as far as going into a school that's never done it? You know, because I feel like that's just as big as a team that's won 10 national titles. I think it's just as big for a new athlete going into a school that's a program that's never won a title. I think that's just as big because obviously you can tell me if it has any more significance on you as far as like a chip on your shoulder. But what do you think you can provide as far as is it your leadership skills, or it's just the way you play on the court as far as to get to that mountaintop and taste glory, that something that they never tasted before?
Oh yeah, for sure. Everyone wants to be the first, and Oregon
Yeah.
State hasn't won a national championship. So I obviously have that drive. That'd be amazing. Me and Tamia Gardner and Allie Blacklock and Lily Hansford, all of us freshmen coming in, for all of us to be part of the first national championship at Oregon State women's basketball. So that was obviously a lot of drive there. For as far as what I can bring, I would think, as for a post player, I think I'm very versatile. I believe that as a player, I can shoot. My shooting is getting a lot better. My dribbling is getting better. My moves are getting more versatile. I can go away or to the basket. And I just think that's a big thing when it comes to Pac-12. You got to be versatile. You see all those posts, and that's a must. You got to be able to shoot a 15-footer, go low in the paint, battle with the big girls. So I feel like that is something that I can bring to the Oregon State basketball team this next year, is my versatility. The fact that I can be a post player, play in the post, but also maybe play from the high post, shoot a three here and there, which Coach Rick is expecting me to do. So, yeah.
If you ever have that opportunity, which in my opinion, because I was watching your highlights all week as we were getting prepared for you to come on, I tell you, one heck of a basketball player. You do an awesome job on the court, I'm sure off of the court, as far as making other athletes and other people better in general. That's what Ryan and I talk about all the time. You seem awesome. You know, we can't thank you enough. If you ever have that opportunity, again, this is way down the road, to get your name selected in that WNBA draft, what would it mean to you? And as far as what's your favorite team growing up, as far as, because you played basketball, it seems like for a while now.
Yeah.
And then what athletes, I know I told you before we came on, what athletes you look up to, professional WNBA players. And as far as Atlanta Deladon, I mean, she does it all. We love her back here in Maryland, as she plays for the Washington Mystics. But again, what would it mean to you as far as having your name selected in that draft?
It would mean a lot. That is a huge honor to be selected into the WNBA draft. Of course, now it's not the biggest draft in the world. A WNBA isn't huge as NBA or all these stuff, and we're hoping to grow it. Girls basketball, women's basketball, hoping to grow that in the future. So it's not easy to get there. It's not easy to stay there, especially when you get drafted. So just to be drafted is a huge honor to WNBA, and that would be just a blast and an amazing experience, unforgettable experience for sure. I don't really have a favorite team. I kind of watch them all. And if I were to be drafted, I don't even know what team I want to be drafted to. It would just be fun to just be drafted just in general. But I love watching. Everyone tells me, and I like to watch Stephanie Dolson a lot, because everybody tells me that I played kind of similar to her, and I just love to watch her because it kind of reminds me of some stuff I do. So she's one of my favorite WNBA player to watch and kind of model my game after. Okay. But yeah, it would be an amazing experience to go maybe play with some of those people that I've watched for a while, or maybe go play with maybe a teammate at Oregon State or teammates that I played against. Who knows? Maybe Lauren Betts.
And you brought up a good point. I like that a lot, Raegan, where, again, the last 5 minutes of this interview with you, you brought up a good point about the change. We want to see change. Ryan, that's a big topic that Ryan and I'm glad he's shaking his head over there. Yes. I'm glad I touched on this with you for the last 5 minutes. The change in women's basketball. What does it mean to actually, again, back years ago when you started playing in middle school, elementary school, whenever you started in your younger career, you didn't really comprehend, didn't really understand. But now as you get older, you can see you might not get the media coverage, might not get as far as, like you said, the NBA draft or this, that. But Ryan and we actually want to be part of that change, and that's why a big reason we talk women's basketball. We love it, So what does that mean to you? And it's a dream for Ryan and I to one day maybe even see it's 12 WNBA teams now. We always talk about, hey, it's like a dream to wake up one day and have like 20 or 25 WNBA teams. So we're hoping that we can be part of that change. But what does it mean to you to be in the actual sport that's actually, it seems to be growing in the right direction?
Yes, I'm honored just to be a part of it all. It really is just a huge honor to just be a part of that growth that is happening in our time right now. And it starts, they talked a lot about it at McDonald All-American and at the Jordan game about growing the women's game and how much it has grown since it started and how much it continues to grow. I just feel so honored to be a part of that. As one of the top recruits, obviously it's going to be a lot on me and all those other recruits that are really good to kind of help grow that, grow the game, grow the women's game, and gain exposure, so we can get on those ESPNs like the NBA teams do. And I think I'm just honored to be a part of that change and honored to be one of the ones hoping to make an impact and grow the game of women's basketball.
Yeah, that's great, man. And I'll tell you what, before we let you go, I wanted to see where were you, or did you see it was coming when you knew that your name was actually landed on the top, what was it, top 100, but your name was actually came in at number 10 on that ESPN list? Where were you, or what were you doing, or did you expect it? Did you not expect it? And how amazing was it to find out that you were up there on that list, way up there?
Yeah. So I've always played against really good girls, whether on the club circuit or here in Colorado with obviously Lauren Betts. And I would have never thought of myself as one of the ones in that top 10, or like one of the ones going to make an All-American, or like I had never thought of myself like that. So I was amazed when that happened. I was actually at home and we checked the list, and because my coach, I think it was Coach Jess, said, check the ESPN list. She sent it to my mom. Yeah. And because before that I was like 33 on that list, and then before I got moved up to 10, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be moved up. I'll stay where I am. That's fine. I know there are girls way better than me. And we checked the list and we saw that I was number 10, and I was like, wait, what? And we had to take a second look because I was like, wait a minute, number 10, like in the country? So I was honestly surprised. And then I started playing all these good girls. I'm like, okay. And then once I started playing with some better girls and playing against them, I'm like, all right, I can play with these girls. Like I can kind of hold my own here and there, So it was an amazing experience to kind of share that with my family. And then Coach Jess was super excited for me because she's the one who texted my mom to look at the list. It was an amazing experience. My brothers like jumped on me and were like, let's go. So it was fun.
Any fun vacations coming up this summer that you want to take before, because it's all down to business once that Oregon State comes along?
Oh yeah. Might go see my grandparents in Missouri, but that's about it.
That's about it. I didn't know if you had any big beaches you're visiting or anything like that, because I know some athletes, they want to get away and enjoy it before it comes down to business for the next 4 years.
I'm ready for the business to start.
All right, Raegan. Hey, we can't thank you enough for coming on. The future Oregon State product, Raegan Beavers. Again, good luck at Oregon State. Ryan says the same. And we can't wait. Again, we're saving up now for them plane tickets. We're going to be coming to see you in a game or two. All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Take care. Listen Up, presented by Dempsey's and Sportsland. Thank you so much.